On our most recent episode, I cautioned you against using AI in a way that replaced you in the relationship. Because when you do that, you don't really have a relationship. You've outsourced it, just like you would in a marriage. You outsource that to something or somebody else, your marriage isn't going to go very well. Same is true in your client relationships. Well, today I'm going to show you what I'm doing with AI in a very simplistic way that's having a great impact upon my ability to deepen relationships. I think you and I both know that if we knew everything about somebody coming into a conversation and we're able to add unique relevance and unique value based on where they're at in time right now, that we would be uniquely positioned to deepen a relationship. And so today I'm going to show you how I do that. Again, with our quest here at Built on Referrals to have the ability to build a modern business on a timeless foundation. That timeless foundation is relationships. So how do you use today's technology, harness it, in order to build something that is timeless? Because relationships, when done right, are timeless. So let's dive right in. I'm going to give an example. You'll notice for those of you that use Chrome, over on the right-hand side of your screen up at the very top, you'll see a little link that says Ask Gemini. Now, if you are unfamiliar with Gemini, Gemini is the AI, the large language model, or the AI engine for Google. And what they've done, they've built it right into their Chrome browser. And you may not have used that before. Now, this is one way to do it. You can also do this with some other tools, but I'm going to use this because probably most of us are using Chrome. So I'll give an example for our business, Pro Insight, which is a technology platform. What I did with it this morning that I couldn't help but not want to share with you. And then I'm going to have this apply to you and your business as a professional who serves homeowners. Okay. So first, I was introduced to an individual who's very high up in the Wells Fargo M&A division. Okay. So we're building out a technology platform that helps real estate agents and other professionals who serve homeowners to create inbound referral flow from the client databases of all the other professionals in their community. So we are looking to raise our next round of funding to be able to grow and scale faster. And so I got an introduction via three-way email from one of our current investors. Okay, so we should never discount the fact that warm is better than cold. Like getting a referral, an introduction to another human is the best way, especially when all three are included in a text ideal or email thread. Okay, that is the best way. Trust is transferred. There's visibility from the person who has the relationship already and is making that intro, right, to know that other person won't ghost. And they'll typically respond with the level of care that they have for the person who's opening that door. So in other words, one of our investors right now is dealing with a banker through one of their business transactions, a large business transaction. And so there's already trust happening right there. So that investor added me to an email, right, and said, I want you to meet Justin, who is building this prop tech company, looking for an additional round of investment, et cetera. So because that was done, he didn't just give me the person's contact info to call, right? He connected us in a three-way, and I think that's a super important component of this. Now, I could have walked into that meeting blind to say, tell me more about your business, tell me about your background. And the first half of the meeting would have been chit-chat and seeing kind of what ideas I can gather from them so that I can be relevant. Or I can use AI. So what I did is I found this individual on LinkedIn, scanned through their posts. I started to follow them. We haven't connected yet, right? Because we haven't really met yet. But I could follow them on LinkedIn, saw that there was an article about a new position that they had taken. They'd moved from JP Morgan to Wells Fargo. Okay, now, for those of you that are in the home services business, I'm going to make this really relevant to you here in just a minute. But I'm sharing how I've done this to give you a real-life tactical example. Okay, so this article that had been posted in LinkedIn, I went to the article, started to read it myself, saw the little Ask Gemini, clicked that, and then I asked a question, okay? This was the question that I asked. And again, this didn't take a lot of time or effort, but I said, first question was, define middle market business, right? I wanted to kind of get parameters as to where he's working. He deals with mergers and acquisitions in the middle market. I wanted to better understand like what size company that was, which we're not there, right? We're a fairly early stage startup. And so I realized that in order to be really relevant to him, that I needed to cast a vision right away. Because if he deals in these kinds of businesses and we're down here, right, getting this plane off the ground, then I needed to position us that this is where we're headed. And we're going to become very interesting for you as we get a little further down the road, okay? So once I understood more about his business, which simply asked Gemini, right, what does middle market business mean? Super simple question. It gave me a whole education really quickly, okay? Now, they want everything from employee count to revenue. And then I asked this question, when reaching out to Justin, that's the other party, who was introduced to me by one of our current investors, gave some background that I just gave to you. What would be highlights of what he's done that may be beneficial to the way I engage with him about our early stage tech startup in the prop tech space? Okay, so I just simply, as if I've got this co-pilot, this person here who knows everything about a lot more than I do, right? About the world at large. And then at that point, I started to get feedback from Gemini about exactly how I should position it, all the way down to here's an engagement script, right? Now, I've already been introduced, so this isn't cold. So part of this wasn't totally relevant, but I said, it gave me the exact, like looking to connect with angel investors who understand how to scale a founder-led business toward the middle market maturity that you specialize in. Now, I want you to think for a minute here. If I show up on that call on Monday with this investor, right, or this banker, and say, tell me about what you do. Now, how does that work? And I'm thinking Wells Fargo, like someone working at a branch, and I was like, this is a guy that's way up the chain, dealing with large, like middle mergers and acquisitions, like companies that are doing $250 to $1 billion in revenue. Like these are sizable companies. Had I shown up through the lens of, oh, Wells Fargo, yeah, he must work at a bank. Like very different scenario. Now, I knew that coming in, but this is solidifying it. How much more valuable will I be in that conversation if I can come in and understanding specifically what middle market business is, what he did at JP Morgan Chase, which was mentioned in the article, what he does at Wells Fargo now, and asking the right questions, right? Because he's not ready to invest in us, but he probably knows angel investors who prepare people to get them to the level to where he does invest. So you see, I'm helping him build a pipeline, which is us, and asking for professionals or for investors rather. And this is as this conversation, just a few more clarifying questions with Gemini, right? He said, when you speak with him, use this specific framing to bridge the gap between your investor sale and your startup. And his name happens to be Justin as well. Justin, I know you usually handle deals in the $250 million range, but we are currently scaling our prop tech startup and we'll be at a 7-figure run rate by year end. Because you have such deep experience in founder-led M&A and governance, I'm looking for angel investors who can help us build the right foundation now so we're eventually ready for the kind of institutional growth you lead at Wells Fargo. Right? In other words, I'm saying I'm a prospect of yours and I'm looking for somebody who can help me to get to that level so you and I can do business together, right? So this isn't just I'll do your investor contact, like I'll do them a favor. Instead, I'm positioning myself to be really valuable to him and asking for his help to help me to get there, right? So all of that came because I engage AI to help me understand what he's been up to and how I can position where I'm at to be prepared for him. This is how you deepen relationships, folks. This is, again, a modern business, right, built on a timeless foundation. I'm going in to build a relationship with this guy, and I don't want to waste his time, right? And so I'm not going to go in there and screw around and ask dumb questions that aren't relevant to who he is. I'm going to come in and be very intelligent based on what I know about him. I have a quick question for you. Are you capturing the referral opportunities that are already within reach, or are you letting them slip through the cracks? Take 2 minutes at builtonreferrals.com/referral score. You'll get a referral score out of 100, quick steps to improve, and we'll send you a copy of the Upstream model, both a digital copy and an audio version. Go to builtonreferrals.com/referral score. Now, how does this apply to you that are in the home services or real estate business? You can do the very same thing through people who you are going on a listing appointment with, people whose homes you're preparing to serve, right? Prospective clients, right? Prospective partners, people who you would like to have in your professional network, right? Open up LinkedIn, open up Facebook, open up Instagram, right? Find that person's profile in Chrome, and up at the top, you'll see Ask Gemini. Gemini can now have visibility to what you're seeing. They can read. Okay. In fact, I'll share with you, one of our clients in our prop tech company is a great agent out of Golden, Colorado. I opened up his Instagram channel. I said, what would be an interesting way for me to engage with Jonathan today, right? And it started to read through his posts because I've essentially given Gemini access to what I'm seeing on Instagram, and it gave me some great ideas. Now, some of this stuff I knew, but some of it's like, oh, that's a really interesting take. Okay. Now, when I reach out to Jonathan, it's not like, hey, how's it going? How are you? How are things? It's like, hey, I saw your post on this. Have you thought about this? Right? I saw your post on your interactivity with the Chamber of Commerce. Have you thought about, right, instead of showing up just to pass out cards, have you thought about organizing an event with those professionals who are there? Right now, I can come to the table with an actual real idea based on what's relevant and current in his life right now. So again, I would encourage you to stop trying to do all of this by yourself, right? Stop trying to do this by just winging it and seeing how it goes. That's where average people play now, right? I want you to think of this. I heard Phil Stringer, who's a great AI consultant, he said this. He said, AI is no longer a tool. It's a team, okay? Because now you've enabled these AI agents that can go out and do work for you. AI is not a tool, it's a team. That makes you not a user of AI, but a manager of AI, okay? What I've shared with you is really using this at a small level as a tool, but you can then start to have it draft an email for you, draft messages for you that you curate, right? But it can help you start to do stuff in the background. And again, back to the point that I made the other day, is that have it do more stuff in the back office so you can be more relevant and more present in the front office. In other words, out building relationships. And when you show up, as I've illustrated today, have those relationships be amplified by unique knowledge about where that person's at right now. Okay. I hope you found value in this episode. By the way, if you are somebody who is interested in how your referral-based business stacks up, if you go to builtonreferrals.com, you'll see that there is an opportunity for you to get your referral score, right? That will allow us to give you some unique insights about how you can boost this, again, creating a modern business on a timeless foundation. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure and subscribe to whatever format or on whatever platform you're listening to this so that you don't miss future episodes. Talk to you soon, my friends. Bye-bye.